Hi, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to work further with constructors and destructors. Here, I am having a class called person, and I'm having a function called createPerson. I'm having a function called introduce. Then I'm having the constructor and then destructor. And here in the main part, basically, I'm calling only the createPerson function. Okay, so here I would like to create an object inside a function. In the previous video, we learned how we can create an object here. For example, I was typing down, for example, person2 equals then the name of the class, and then we could, for example, put some information like Alice, 30, etc., and call the introduce function afterwards. This is what we did in the previous video. But here, I would like to create an object inside a function of the class. So in order to do that, first of all, I call the createPerson function. In order to call that, I first type down the name of the class, then I use dot, then I call the createPerson function. In this function, what happens is the following. So this is the name of the function. And here I'm typing down the name of the class again. I'm having two arguments and it is equal to P. So P is an object that we are creating for the person class, and these are two arguments. And we learned when we are having a constructor, when we create an object of that class, we are automatically calling the constructor. So here we are creating an object inside a function of the class rather than outside of it. Okay, outside of the class. Here the object is being created, therefore the constructor is automatically called, and these two arguments, Bob and 25, are assigned to the attributes which are self.name and self.age. They are assigned. Then everything is finished. We go up here and we are not showing any message in the output to say, okay, the constructor is called, but we could also show this message saying that the constructor is called. Okay, we could have that as well. So when we create the object, this message is shown because the constructor is called, and these two arguments are initialized and are assigned to initialize the attributes self.name and self.age. Then we go up and continue the execution of this function createPerson, and we use the object to call the introduce function from the person class. So I type down the name of my object dot, then the name of the function which is introduce. So this function is now called, and this function is going to print information regarding the Bob, because we are calling this function with an object that was used to, pass arguments and data and information of Bob. So this introduce function is going to print, hi, I am Bob and I am 25 years old. So this message is being shown in the output when the introduce function is called. And then everything else is finished, and we are going to have, for example, here, if we want to delete the object that we are having here, we can delete that. And in order to do that, we can simply just type down the keyword del and then type down the object name. So when we are deleting the object here, we are going to automatically call the destructor, and then when the destructor is called, this message also is being shown out. Object Bob has been deleted. So let me run the code. So when I run the code, first of all, it says constructor is called. How? So let me go through it one more time. When we run the code, we are calling the createPerson function from the person class. So this function is going to execute these three parts, these three lines, let's say. First of all, we are going to create an object called P. When the object is called, we're going to automatically call the constructor, and the constructor is showing this message. First of all, the constructor is called. Okay. Then the arguments that are passed for calling the constructor, which are Bob and 25, are assigned to our attributes, self.name and self.age. When the constructor work is finished, we go up here, the compiler goes to next line and calls the introduce function using the object that we just created. Then we are having the introduce function being called, and this message is shown. Hi, I am Bob, and I am 25 years old. So this function is called, and this message is shown also in the output. After that, the compiler goes back up again in the create person function, because we didn't finish executing this function. It goes to next line, and the next line is deleting the object that we created. Therefore, it is going to delete the object, and when the object is being deleted, automatically the destructor is called, and it shows this message, basically the destructor saying that object Bob has been deleted. So this is how we can actually have an object being created inside a function that itself is inside a class. In the previous video, we learned how to create an object outside of the class for the class, but in this video, we learned how to create an object inside a function that is inside a class here. And then inside that function, we are going to create an object, so automatically the constructor is called, and then we are calling another function in that class. So we are using the object, and then the name of the object, then dot, and then the name of the function. So the introduce function was called, and finally we removed and we deleted the object that is called P, and automatically the destructor was called also to release the resources and for efficient memory management. Thank you for watching.